Hey everyone. It is business. Oh no, it's not the Business Not As Usual podcast. It's the whoops. It's welcome to I think this is episode 40 of Analysts After Work. Episode 40. And with me today, two of my favorite people, and I seem to say that every week, and I actually do mean it, but two of my favorite people returning after lengthy absences. Jared, JFO, welcome back to the show. What's going on?
Well, I was particularly excited to have this show with you two because it's U.S. Tax Day, except it's not. They have postponed it to May 17th.
Oh, that's incredibly random.
So
May 17th?
Right? It's very interesting that it's May 17th, not May 15th, not May 16th, May 17th.
Is that exactly like 5 weeks from now or 4 weeks from now? Like, was it a time-based extension? Look at the analysts turning on. Like, how do we solve this? They just picked. It's almost like they threw a dart at a calendar, and it hit the 17th, and like, yep.
Yeah, it's a Monday. So
weird.
Yeah.
What is going on down there?
Ask the IRS.
Oh my! You know what? I'd rather not.
So Jen, being Canadian, I don't understand the IRS. I mean, you see them in movies, and they're like the evil people, and they chase after you and whatnot. And my dealings with CRA, the Canada Revenue Agency, have all been very pleasant for the most part. I've had a few issues with them where I've talked to them and said, "Hey, I have an issue." They're like, "Oh, okay, no problem. We'll backdate that." And I mean, they're very willing to work with you. Is the IRS just given a bad rap in the U.S., or are they just that evil?
I feel like I'm very uniquely able to answer this because I actually worked on a contract with the IRS a while ago. And so I had all these preconceived notions about what that would be like. And it ended up being they were the nicest, most talented agency that I've worked with. Yeah, so that was cool. I think it's that they're just so large and people want to call in and there's like long, massive lines just because there's not enough people to answer the phones and help folks through. And I think maybe also the U.S. tax laws are just so complex. And maybe Canadians are just nicer generally. I think it comes back to that.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, I'm gonna go. See, I mean, here's a perfect example of just Canadian niceness. The start of this show was completely hijacked because you know what the first question is, and you just started in on tax law, and I'm like, okay.
So before we get to that first question, I'm going to hijack it again. So I specifically chose today because JFO said she was going to be here. It was tax day, and every session I've seen with her, I just always burst out laughing, and I just wanted that chance to do so. Yeah. But so thank you, JFO, for making this happen. This is awesome.
Thank you. It's nice to be here. What are you?
And I think Steve has already rightfully commented in the comments. You've been on like 20% of the episodes, and it's probably not far from reality. But yeah, it has been a while. Like I was getting used to you being on like every second or third episode. And by the way, you're a lovely person. And so I was never like, oh, Jen again. Oh, but it was like I was getting used to it, and then you disappeared for like 3 months. So anyways, Jen, what are we bringing to the party today?
So I am bringing water again.
Okay.
Again, because it is the third day of Ramadan. I'm not Muslim, but my husband is Muslim. So the compromise in a inter-religion marriage is that I fast for the day, except I drink water because I'm not Muslim. So I'm not doing the religious practice, and then eat a huge dinner at night.
Right.
Yes.
I actually just came. My team did a session where we learned about from someone who is a practicing Muslim, and I was fascinated. I was like at the thing like this, and I'd be like, wait, hold on. You can't swear at anybody. You have to be nice to everybody. You can't eat or drink or like for 30 days. And then it was like, well, and sometimes it's 30 days, but sometimes it's 29, and they'll tell us the day before when it's over. I'm like, how do you do this? And my team knows me enough to like, Vince, you can't Six Sigma this. Like, it's just there's no logic to there. Well, I'm sure there's logic to it, but it's like you can't. It's just it is what it is. But wait, hold on a second. And so it was fascinating. I was fascinated. So for those that are observing Ramadan, Eid Mubarak. It's the extent of my Arabic knowledge, but that water, that's fine. You're still welcome. I'm gonna jump in, Jared, because I'm actually just finishing my afternoon coffee, so I'm also not throwing down this afternoon.
Is that a Tim Hortons mug?
It is a Tim Hortons Madrid mug.
I have so many questions.
I first, Jared.
So this is going to be a long answer, so I apologize in advance.
Okay.
First and foremost, I do have this for you.
Woo!
Oh, I forgot about that. I made space for it and everything.
Arrived. I just need to address it and send it to you. So
it's all good.
But so, Vince, you and I have talked a long time about my love of football, about my obsession for football. So I had a very specific Carlsberg Liverpool can. I was going to break open, especially today. Today's a pretty momentous day for my team. I don't want to necessarily go into that, but I also said in the previous part of before we came online there, I am super swamped. I've got 4 more meetings today, so I am drinking iced tea.
Okay, respect. And that's fine. What happened with Liverpool? Were they eliminated earlier than usual, or
no, nothing to do with that. But today's the 32nd anniversary of a stadium disaster that happened in 1989. So,
well, aren't I a terrible person?
96 of our supporters were killed that day. So it's a big day for us.
I do remember that day. So I feel terrible. I don't remember the day, but I remember that it happened. It's funny that you mentioned football because my scarf showed up today because I'm a season seat holder for Toronto FC. Let me just zoom out here. So I got and for the first time ever, it's black, and I kind of dig it. So, anyways, there we go.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's been a lot has gone on since both of you guys were on, and but sorry, Jen, the floor is yours, Jen.
I completely forgot what I was.
You wanted to say something.
I was so following the.
You heard football and you checked out
disasters and things I was learning, and then thinking about what I was in '89. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a Tim Hortons in Madrid.
Yes. So one of the things, I hate Tim Hortons, by the way. I'm not a big fan. But one of the
for saying that,
I'm no longer a Canadian. One of the things I really admire about Tim Hortons though is how this is total nerd stuff, but from a process perspective, they have minimal variation in their process. You can go to Tim Hortons, and this is part of my Six Sigma training. You can go anywhere in the world to a Tim Hortons where there is one, and the coffee tastes the same, and the donuts taste the same, and it is repeatable, it is reproducible, it is exact. And so a couple of years ago, I was in Spain, and my brother-in-law lives there, and he was like, they opened a Tim Hortons. I'm like, we have to go, because I wanted to try it and see if what I was saying was actually true. Like can you go anywhere in the world and have a Tim Hortons and it tastes the same? And you know what? Yep. It is exact. Like they have all of their I'm not going to get into X's and Y's and inputs and outputs, but it was like being back home. And so I saw this mug and I'm like, it was 2 or 3 euros. I'm like, you know what? Just as a memory, and it's become my afternoon coffee mug because it's just the right, like in the afternoon you have a nice espresso. It's just the right size. So there you go.
Yay.
Was that was all you had?
Yeah, that's all I had. Although I have a question for Jared.
Okay.
I have seen so many job openings at IIBA recently.
Isn't it great?
Yeah. What's up with that? Is that just like reflective of the general churn in the hiring industry where there's a lot? Tim Hortons coffee tastes like
I say it tastes like brown and water, but like, yeah, it's.
But yeah, what's that about?
So there's a couple of things going on. Number one, there's a couple of people that are retiring. So Kelly Frankhauser, our director of corporate sales, is retiring at the end of next month. So obviously we have to replace that position. But we've got a very aggressive plan for 2021, and we need additional bodies to realize that plan. So yeah, we're growing.
I might know a guy who's gotten really used to working remotely. Yeah, there was one that I saw the other day, and I actually did click through to the job description and was like, But I don't know. I don't know if I want to work in the factory.
Mm.
You know, I like the taste of sausage. I don't necessarily want to know how it's made. But anyways, I digress.
It says the person who works in the government.
In the government, not in IIBA. I respect IIBA, and I respect the government too.
You're only saying that because it's tax day and you need someone's listening, aren't you?
So it has been a while. What, Jen? I'll start with you. What's been going on? I think the last time you were on was the beginning of the year. So
yeah.
It's been 3 months. What's been going on?
So we got a puppy that at the beginning of the year was about this sized.
Yes. Now it's like this.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So that's about the most exciting thing that's happened the past couple months.
Okay.
Pandemic life.
Okay. So just that's fine.
Back though, Jen, because last I heard from you is that you were still planning your wedding in a pandemic. So did you get married this year or was it last year?
We got married last fall and we had a Zoom wedding. Yep.
Yeah.
And it actually was nice. First of all, it saved a crap ton of money. And then second of all, it was less stressful, right? Mm-hmm. I like to make decisions this way about my personal life. Will this add stress to my life? Or will this decrease or not change the amount of stress?
Ooh, I like that framework.
Yes.
I like that.
So that's how I ended up with a Zoom wedding. Because I was like, okay, planning an in-person wedding requires like a couple months in advance, planning, right? Even if you're
year.
This was a very casual situation.
Okay, fine. Yeah. And you're not Italian, that's fine. We need a year.
Yes. So when it got to that point where it was like, okay, we need to put down a deposit on the location because the location that we were doing was not a traditional wedding location. So then they didn't want money until like a couple months in advance, which was awesome. So at that point I was like, do I put down this deposit or do I not add stress to my life about unknowable things, right? Because at that point it was like, there's no way for me to predict what's going to happen with this pandemic in 5 months or so, or 3 months. So anyways, we did a Zoom wedding and it was free. It was nice. I could invite anyone I wanted, right? There wasn't constraints on who to invite necessarily, like, oh no, we can't invite great Aunt Gertrude kind of thing, right?
Do you have a great aunt Gertrude?
No, I don't,
Oh.
but I have a lot of great Uncle Olafs.
Right, which we talked about the last time you were on because of the Scandinavian descent. Yes, all right.
I thought you were going to say I have a lot of great Uncle Gertrudes,
Yeah.
and that was going to throw me away. But okay,
Also that.
Maybe. You know, lots of interesting things happen in family trees, right?
mm-hmm.
This is true. Jared, I think it's been even longer since you were.
No, I was here on the anniversary show, if you remember.
That one doesn't count though. No, but that one doesn't count.
Oh,
that was
so,
like a. I'm talking like you
on
are
show.
on the show. Yeah.
So that was episode 23. So that was 17 episodes.
Jeez, it was like forever ago.
Yeah, but you know, as Jeff already said, we're growing, and the amount of work to be done is there. So there's just so much going on. Of course, with our harmonization program kicking off in, I think, 422 hours last I checked. 18 days.
I'm not good at math.
Yeah, well, May the 4th, which is another important day for me.
Oh my God, that's the most important day of the year.
Agreed.
Uh-huh.
There's just lots of I's to dot and T's to cross and stuff to go on. So yeah, it's been fun.
That's awesome.
Asking for a friend, what's the harmonized program?
So harmonization uses two of my favorite BA terms, unification and simplification. So what we're doing is basically removing chapter barriers, so there'll be no more chapter memberships. Basically, what we're saying is one fee gives you access to all the chapters.
Ooh.
And then part of your fee will actually go to fund the chapter events and stuff. So again, unification and simplification.
Did that come about because of the pandemic?
No. So it actually started, we started talking about, back then we called it integrated membership fees, but it started back in 2008. First started talking about it, and we had obstacles and other priorities that got in our way. And then we've pushed it through, and we're going to get over that hurdle. And then I get to open this bottle of champagne to celebrate it.
So you got champagne on one side, Carlsberg on the other. Tremendous. That's a winning day.
I'm the monkey in the middle. Yeah.
You are there you go. So I had debated whether I wanted to share this, but I think I'm going to.
Exactly.
I got the first dose yesterday.
Yay!
So yeah, it was. I felt a little guilty because I am based on age. I'm not eligible yet, but I'm a caregiver for an adult family member, and they booked the appointment, and I was like, I feel bad. Like I actually had like survivor guilt, or I guess what would be the equivalent of survivor, because I'm like, I don't deserve this. I'm taking it from somebody else, and I don't feel right. And I had a conversation with another family member. They're like, you think this is for you? Like, you're doing it so that when you go into the long-term care place, you don't wipe out half of the ward. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, that makes sense then. Stick me. And yeah, so I got the first shot yesterday. And I'm due to get the second one in August, which means chapters and conferences, if you're planning in-person live events for the fall, guess who's available?
Wait, your second one in August?
Yeah.
Which one did you get?
Pfizer? Yeah.
So Jen, the Canadian,
we're not doing well with it.
You can wait now 4 months between your first and your second shot, because we are so far behind. The government decided it would be best to get first shot into as many people as possible. So they've extended that second shot is what they've done.
Right.
Wait, the U.S. is doing something better than Canada?
Yeah. No, you guys are kicking our
out of the
ass.
water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are kicking our ass on this. We are not doing good. It's just So we're not seriously. They've said every eligible Canadian over the age of 18 will have at least a first shot by Canada Day. I don't think so.
Canada Day,
July 1st.
Okay.
We know stuff about your country. It wouldn't hurt you to know a little bit about Canada. My little segue here. One of my favorite, most recent conference memories, Jen, was you and I and Hans were in Vancouver, and we were at that restaurant that we went to after the first night, and then we left to go back to the hotel, and you said, "I want to go to a 7-Eleven and get something Canadian." Do you remember this?
Yes.
And so I'm like, I don't know what that means. I want to get something Canadian. And so you went in looking for ketchup chips, which, I mean, you're not going to get much more Canadian than that. They didn't have, so you got all dressed. Fine. And then you bought some water called Clearly Canadian. And it was like, you just wanted to have something that said Canada on it. And I'm like, whatever. I got a slushie. So, or Slurpee or whatever the 7-Eleven iced drink is. It was one of those moments, Jen, that's just burned into my head of like, Jen wanted something Canadian and she got chips.
So
and water. Okay.
So that reminds me of a story I heard actually just yesterday when Home Depot first came into Canada. The CEO and I think the CIO had a video call with the staff in Canada. And one of the first questions from the staff was, when you eat your Smarties, do you eat the red ones last?
You have to. That's the rule.
And the CEO and the CIO kind of looked at each other and were like, what the hell? Like, what are they talking about? No idea that Smarties come in red and that you always have to eat them last.
Yeah. There was a song and everything.
Yeah.
It was part of their jingle when they were advertised. Like, when you eat the Smarties, do you eat the red ones last? Do you
crunch them
very slowly? Do you something very fast? Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. And yet, I mean, yes, they are terrible. M&Ms are far superior.
Well, I don't agree with that.
But they're Canadian.
It's a different context.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. I mean, just the fact that M&Ms come in like peanut butter and pretzel and peanut flavor, like this all day, man.
So the Canadian Smartie is better than the U.S. Smartie, though, because the U.S. Smartie we call rockets, which is just the powdered sugar.
Correct. Yes.
Right?
Correct.
Whereas
correct.
a Canadian Smartie is a chocolate with a hard casing around it, very similar to an M&M.
Correct. Yes, you're right. Yes, it is. I was actually having this conversation the other day. And I'm not just saying that. We were discussing Smartie theory. But yes, we were talking about how in the States, what they call Smarties are actually rockets. Now, have you ever? You probably have, Jared, had the Smarties in the UK.
Yes.
To me, they're better than the Canadian ones.
Yes.
Yeah.
Am I right in thinking that M&Ms were created during World War II in order to have chocolate that didn't melt as easily?
I mean, like if last week on the show, people were doing research in real time. So if anyone can come up with an answer to that
if
one.
only we had some mechanism where we could search like an online encyclopedia and find out these facts.
Yeah.
I bet you someone could even come up with the Smartie song.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Batten says that's the M&M tail.
I mean, okay.
He also says this is true.
The American contingent is coming to your defense. I don't know, and I like to speak with data whenever I make assertions. So for me to say that it's true or not, I mean, what am I supposed to do? Take AJ at his word? Come on.
AJ seems like an M&M expert, very credible.
I don't know.
Well, I read it on the internet, so it's got to be true.
Yeah, it's got to be true. It was on a message board, and like 80 people upvoted it, so it's got to be real.
So what's going on with you, Vince? I mean, you asked JFO and I, but
okay,
yeah, sure, bring it on. What's going on?
You ever have those, like, I started the year with such hopes of having a great year. And by the way, like, it has been a great year, but one of the things that I wanted to do at the outset was actually leave time to not be busy. And then I go and I do something absolutely ridiculous, but so much fun, and fill that time with planning a festival. Sorry, it's not a conference. Then, as if I don't have enough going on, I decide I'm going to take the cybersecurity certification for my IBA, and I sign up and pay for that. And it's been sitting on a like, I paid for it. I've gone through the first couple modules. There is no way I'm doing it anytime before like July. But I don't know, man. I just keep piling on stuff. And now the fact that, it does look like we're going to be doing live events again. I had like 4 calls this week to do different things. And so, I have a hard time saying no, especially when, hey, do you want to, speak in I don't know. And this I'll make up Argentina. Yeah, I do. So I can't say no. Like, why can't someone from, like, Regina say, hey, do you want to come to Regina? No, I can't, I'm busy. Or and by the way, I've never been to Regina, so I'm sorry if I'm dumping on you. That's not my intent. I'm just trying to give an example. But, it's just, I'm at the point where I keep taking on more, and I haven't broken yet. So now it's giving. I don't know if it's giving me a false sense of confidence, where it's like, I could probably take on more stuff. Yeah, whatever. Like, give me more stuff. Jared, just before we came live, do you want to do something for BBC? Yep. Yes, I do. Like, I can't say no.
Is that a BA trait, though? I mean,
No.
we see that we're doing something that someone obviously sees some value in, and we're like, yeah, I can provide value. I want to do it.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, there were even things that people reached out to me, and it was like, yeah, I'll have a conversation, but probably not. And then I still do it. So, I don't know. I don't know that it's a BA trait of, like, trying to, make things positive and taking advantage of opportunity and whatever. It's just, I don't know. There's a lot of cool stuff going on, and I don't know. I don't know that I got to make it work. Although I did have, and here's the tie-in to Jen and her. This whole pandemic, with all the conferences being canceled and everything, I was pretty convinced at one point I was going to get an email from Air Canada saying, you can now check into your flight. Because I forgot to cancel it or whatever. Well, that didn't happen. But I did get hey, we've moved the flight that you have to DC in May to this date. Are you okay with that, or do you need to cancel? And so I was one of those, like, I had no idea I still had a flight to DC scheduled. So canceled it quick. But I'm trying to not, like, lose track of things, and I know that eventually I will, and then, I'm going to be a pariah. But, it has been incredibly busy. And then there's this show, which, again, I am starting to see the end of the line of it in this version, but then I think it moves into a live version. So, or maybe it doesn't end. I don't know. I'm so conflicted. What should I do?
I feel like you will know what to do when the moment.
Geez. Just give me the answer, Jen. Just give me the answer.
I feel like you'll be called. Like either you'll be like at the bar and like, oh my gosh, we should be doing this show right here, or you'll be like, oh, I'm back with all my friends again, right?
Yeah.
Like this feels good. I don't need to do anything more. I'm just content. I don't think that's going to happen for you, but
but that's what I'm sort of afraid of. Like, I don't know. I'm torn.
I had my second shot last week or 2 weeks ago. So my efficacy date, which is a fun word, is April 20th. So I'm like, what do I do?
Right.
What do I do? What can I do? I'm visiting my mother. But besides that, like, I feel like the whole world is opening up, but then again, it's not.
It's not until other people are also of your efficacy.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah.
Which,
yeah, I mean,
most folks are nearing that around me. My coworkers.
I'm wearing pants. I am wearing pants.
I like your dragon shirt.
Thank you. It's a Game of Thrones. I think it's a mistake because if you look at it, it's got the dragons and the direwolf. But this was a shirt that I bought at Primark in Madrid for like €4, and I just kind of liked it. So there we go.
Jared and I are both being professional.
I noticed you. Well, Jared, I'm not surprised. You, I'm a little disappointed, Jen.
Yeah, well, you'll notice I'm not standing up though, Vince.
This is true because he's wearing IIBA boxers.
No, I am actually wearing just regular pants.
I'm sure.
But he does have IIBA socks.
I'm sure that
If
there
they
are.
had some, I'm sure I would have some, but they don't.
There's got to be socks, Jared.
That could be part of your 2022 plan.
Oh,
there we go.
Swag socks.
Swag socks.
Yeah, Dan, this is the plan, and this, like, just to record it, and but I don't know though. There's another level of intimacy when you're sitting down and having dinner with people versus. I think this is different. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, you need some socks there, Jared.
All right.
Vince, are you also writing a book? Am I misremembering?
No, you're not misremembering. So
what had happened
that was one of the casualties. Because something had to give. Yeah, I couldn't. So I mean, the books will still be written, because Jen, I wasn't working on a book. I was working on 2. Like, I have a problem.
I feel like what you need to do is rent a cabin, right? Because you're in Canada, you're surrounded by cabins.
Hold on, though. I'm like urban Canadian though. Like,
so you drive an hour, rent a cabin, right? Without Wi-Fi.
Without Wi-Fi.
You give your wife a lot of wine so that she can solo parent for a couple days, right? And then you just Wi-Fi-less cabin, you and your laptop. What else can you do?
Yeah. You're not wrong.
And then you write both books in 4 days, and then you're done.
You're not wrong. So I mean, and here was the plan. Both of them are so one of them is based on my course, Enterprise Analysis, Strategy Analysis. I'm starting from a place where I'm getting that transcribed, and then it's editing, and already it's at like 30,000 words, just like because it's me talking. The other one is based on the session that I did last year at BBC with my buddy Mike. on the missing pieces of the digital transformation puzzle. And so we've got the BBC session, we've got all that stuff. Plus, it's based on our podcast, and we just did our 53rd episode. So we have like hundreds of hours of, well, that's an exaggeration. We have at least 50 hours worth of us talking. And that is probably, you know, another 250,000 words. And so it's the art or the act of sitting down and actually doing it. But I'm having so much fun doing all the other stuff and planning serendipity and doing, like, I'm having so much fun doing that other stuff that it's sort of fallen to the wayside. It'll still get done. It just won't be this year, probably.
Oh man, I forgot about Analysts After Work Bingo. Oh, how could I forget?
I don't know. You know what? Maybe you know what? I'm gonna ruin it right now. Let's just see here. Let's go to the video board. Man, those ugly babies. I can't. You know, the thing that I'm looking the most forward to is going to Orlando and having the after party with Hans and his cooler. Talked about digital transformation. I'm good there. Talked about COVID. I don't have a new haircut.
You kind of look like you have a new haircut.
No, it's. I mean, it's growing. It's just growing, but it's not. Anyways,
very buoyant.
If you guys are playing along, I looked at it. I'm not gonna. It's fine. So yeah, it's not. This is not good. It's not good. But anyways,
I need to buy a new cooler.
Do you?
Maybe Hans is the one to talk to about that.
Maybe he would be the guy. Bingo. Anyways, so last week I did something that I have never done before, and it was extremely liberating. So I'm going to do it again. I have nothing else to talk about. You guys take over.
Oh, goodness. Now you put us on the spot.
I never have questions prepared, and it was just, I got to a point last week with Steve and with Dave. We were talking about, I forget what we were talking about specific, but I'm just like, you know what? I'm so tired. Last week was a bad week, but I'm so tired that, like, I have nothing else to say. I have nothing else to say.
I have a question for the audience.
Okay.
Like Jared, do you all have a lot of openings in your companies as well? Because I'm seeing kind of a pattern of this. Like in the past month, I've been seeing so many job openings, and TikTok led me to believe that it's because of something called churn, which is now things are opening up a little bit, and people who were like hunkered down working are like, okay, I'm going to leave and then go to other things. So they're being backfilled, but these are often people who are doing like more than one role. So they ended up being backfilled by like multiple people, and it just creates a bunch of different opportunities that are popping up. So are other people hiring? I see Rachel's hiring, but are other people feeling this as well? Or are other folks' industries still like shut down / closed?
Yeah. I mean, I want to address something before I'll answer that question. And thank you for coming up with it, because I really have nothing. I'm sorry. You learned this on TikTok.
You would be surprised what's on TikTok.
And obviously, Dan and I had the same thought, because what?
There's an HR lady who posts things about.
Is there really?
Yeah. And then it just comes up, like the algorithm on TikTok is really good after you spend about 13,000 hours on it. It knows what content you will like, and it knows that I would be interested in this churn opportunity HR lady talking.
Right. I mean, I haven't seen that. I've seen a lot of postings.
Mm-hmm.
I've not seen a lot of people that are willing to move. And that to me is fascinating. I think where it will become a lot more interesting is once we are sort of through the looking glass, and now, companies are starting to make their plans for the return to the office. I think that's where a lot of people are going to say, I'm not going back. And now they're going to start to look for, and so I think the opportunities are for employers that do start to offer remote by default, will start to be able to attract, like, to use that as a competitive advantage. So that's my perspective. But I don't know, Jared, what's the view from Alberta?
So it's interesting. So Alberta's been hard hit because of the oil industry in general, right? So, but we've also got a lot of tech companies moving in, which is kind of cool. And I think Lavina put it in the chat. There are a lot of BA positions that are open right now. I think organizations are seeing the need for business analysis, whatever you call the title, which the title is really not important. But the need for business analysis. And it's interesting. We were talking about, some of the cool stuff you were doing with Six Sigma and whatnot. But in my former role, I was supporting the real estate portfolio of a major oil and gas company who has like 7 buildings in Calgary. And with the pandemic, I'm like, that analysis would be fascinating to do. Do we need 7 buildings? Well, probably not. Should we go entirely remote? Well, probably not. But what's the happy medium? It's really, really cool to roll up my sleeves and get involved in that. So that's my business analysis nerd coming out, and I apologize. But it's interesting. I think there will be some organizations where the people actually want to go into work. And there'll be some organizations where they're going to want to stay remote. And then there'll be some hybrid roles as well. So it's going to depend a lot on what kind of role it is, what kind of work you're doing, and where you're doing it. It's opened up so much, though. It's
not. And what is the problem that you're trying to solve? Like I have this conversation with my buddy Mike all the time of like, because he's getting asked how many days should we be back in the office? 1 day, 2 days, 3 days? And it's like, that's the wrong question. The question isn't how many days should we be back. It's why do we need people in the office? And then you get your answer.
What value?
Right.
So that's a better question. What value do we get by being in the office?
Correct. So, because I know, like, for me, I can do the majority of my job virtually. Like, I don't even have to be in Toronto. I can be in Calgary. I can be in DC. I can be anywhere.
In your cabin.
I could be in my cabin. Well, there's no Wi-Fi there.
Wi-Fi.
There's no Wi-Fi there. I'm always happy to oblige Amy.
Ooh.
There you go, Amy. Bingo for you. What is the problem that we're trying to solve? Because, like, I can't tell you how many times in the before times I would go to work because I had a meeting to go to, and then inevitably it would get canceled. So it was like, okay, I came here for this, like specifically for this meeting, to have, like, to be seen, and I didn't need to. You know what I mean? And so I think, if you're having meetings, but on the flip side, I think, there's still value in being face to face and live and seeing people socially, I think.
So Vince, IIBA is an entirely remote organization.
I know, Jared.
So when the pandemic hit, it was business as usual for us.
Right.
But at the same time, we haven't had an all hands staff meeting. We haven't got together. I want more than just a Zoom call. I want more than meeting on Teams or on even the show, right? I can't wait to get back into meeting people and shaking hands and hugging and high fives and whatnot. But when we do have those in-person meetings, our team gets together and we get more done in one day than we did probably in the last 2 months.
And that's fair, Jared. I think it's everything you just said there is the social aspect of work. It's the bringing together of a team, and and I think it's possible to do that in a distributed way, but there's nothing that replaces actually sitting across a table from somebody and clinking glasses after work. Like nothing replace this does not replace that.
Mm-hmm.
It was never really, I mean, it was a sad attempt to fill that gap, but it was never a replacement for it. So I agree with you there. And once you have that cohesion, then I think you can go fast. But
I was thinking, even like for myself, now that I'm approaching my efficacy date again, one of my favorite words.
That's a great word.
There's a co-working place near me, and I'm like, could I go there? I could see other humans.
Yeah.
And just not be in this closet room for like one day every 2 weeks or something like that.
This is a thought I've also had.
Drink coffee that I didn't make.
Right. This is a thought I've also had, because I don't want to go back to the office, but I also want to be able to separate home and work. Because I don't know if you guys can hear what's going on upstairs. It's just like there's a playroom up there, and so there's like cars being driven on the floor, and just it's loud. It's bothering me, at least, but just to get away from that, you know what I mean?
I was thinking it'd be nice just to be able to walk, right? Get more steps in my day, get some sunshine, health. I have a question for the Brazilian BA.
Yes.
I didn't realize how much of a deal nearshore stuff is. We have some developers on our team that are in Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a thing? Is that a thing nearshore in Brazil, or is that just a random thing that situationally I've seen?
Yeah, I mean, hey, Fabricio, if you want to come on and answer that, just send me an email. I'll send you the link. You can jump in and answer that question. I've not heard of nearshoring.
So yeah, in my last role, we did nearshoring to Costa Rica.
Right? Be careful if you're in the audience in one of Vincent's video podcast things, because you might be called on. Also, coincidentally, we call Canada a nearshore location.
Oh, come on. We share a border.
But
the largest
undefended border in the world. What is wrong with you? You see how the Canadians stepped up there.
So
take your all dressed chips and leave.
And okay, so I have another question, I think, for Jared. Startups don't seem to have BAs. Is that true from what you're understanding? And is then the work, because the work doesn't disappear, right? Is it just done by product managers?
From a startup perspective?
Yeah.
So I think every organization everywhere does business analysis. And I mean, Vince and I talked about this in BBC last year, right? The business analysis has to get done by somebody in some role or capacity. They just don't have the role of business analyst. All that work has to get done. It doesn't go away. Yeah. Startups, for the most part, in my opinion, I could be wrong, generally don't know what a business analyst is or does. So
that's what I've been finding in this brand new world I've stumbled upon. And Brazilian BA, the question for you was, is nearshoring from the US?
Just give him a second. The link has been provided. I was going to just bring him in on a surprise.
Oh.
But just Ashpet. I liked this comment. I've actually heard this a couple times in the last few weeks from like executives, where they're like, everybody thinks they are doing analysis, but they either aren't or they're not doing it well. So, okay. So while we're waiting for our special guest, we have a question from the audience. which I love. Like, this is the thing I need to encourage more of. Ask questions, because it takes a lot of pressure off of us.
Amy, I would love to, and I've been not proactive about looking at my speaking engagements and topics and things like that. So thank you for the reminder. I'm going to apply / find out when the applications are and which ones I haven't missed.
I believe it closed 3 weeks ago.
It was like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Oh, then no.
So
I will be there in spirit.
Because
I'll make that up. I don't know.
Genfo doesn't want special treatment, right?
No, I don't.
Yeah, you can get special treatment. It's fine.
I do need to come up with some topics though. And I feel like I could come up with some cool ones because I just changed jobs during a pandemic to a different domain, right? Into the startup world where they don't have BAs, they have product managers, but people are still doing the work. Aw, Amy, you're the best.
Yeah.
So I have like a lot of different topics and thoughts to talk about, and then also like facilitating agile ceremonies and refinement sessions and things remotely. How to keep people engaged so they don't look like Vince looks like right now.
Oh, the ceremonies and the...
Is that a trigger word for you?
Never.
Hey, glad to be here.
Hey, I'm Jen, aka JFO.
Yes, nice to see you, Jayfo. Nice to see you, Jared. And always a pleasure, Vince.
My friend, how are you? Obrigado.
I think. Yeah, you're welcome. De nada.
Yeah. So Jen. Wait, hold on. Jen, the Brazilian BA, Fabricio, Laguna, Jen, ask your questions.
Nice to meet you.
Okay. So I recently, or last fall, started in a startup. I did not start a startup, but I found that we do some nearshoring, which we use that term to talk about when we use contractors in other countries besides the US. And one of our nearshore targets that we work with a fair amount is Brazil. So is that common? Is that something that's just unique to like my company? Or are there a lot of folks who use contractors from the US who are in Brazil?
Yes, I confess I had to look for what nearshoring is, and I had time for that, and now I got that is the practice of transferring a business operation to a nearby country, especially in preference to more distant one. So now I got it. What do you mean? And it is a practice. We do have a lot of companies in Brazil who are doing services for other countries, but it's not as common as India because they speak English, so it's easier for them to do services for other countries. But we do. I believe 15 or 20 years ago, I did have a software house, and we had a customer in England, a telecom company, and we are making software for them. And as there is a different on price of the coins or the exchange, we could change very well for in our pockets, and it was very cheap for them. So it makes a lot of sense for both countries, especially during pandemics that like everyone is doing everything online. So I believe that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And we have very good companies in technology here in Brazil. We do have people very creative, and they say that's something interesting about the Brazilian culture, because usually in North America, people are they have a role, so they will act in that role and they will specialize in that thing. And if that's not their job, they will say, oh, that's not my job. It's from something else.
Especially in the government.
Especially in the government.
Yeah.
Probably.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Not my job.
Yeah. And here in Brazil, we have to deal with difficulty every time. So people are more flexible, let's say that. That's what I hear.
Which was one of the points of in the Tim Ferriss book, The 4-Hour Workweek. Not to draw the parallel, it was that arbitrage of time and dollars, and actually offshoring or nearshoring, I guess, to a place in the world where you can actually get services for cheaper than you could get them
it was interesting.
In your local, right?
In the time that we are developing software here for this telecom in England, we were paid by a accountability office that was in India, so they used it. It was kind of funny.
I think
were they maybe laundering money? Like they were just sending stuff all over the world?
I don't think so, because it was a very big company.
I'm just joking.
But they was just looking for the cheapest work and good work. So.
And I think that's what this pandemic is going to give us. I think you are gonna see offshoring, nearshoring, whatever, to other parts of the world, because you're no longer restricted to I need to be in an office, and so I must live in a geographic vicinity of that office.
I think the advantage of nearshoring is that the time difference is less. So people can kind of feel like they're on the same team, right? Because you're in the office at roughly the same time.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, to Brazil, I think they're 1 hour ahead of us. Jen, you and I are in the same time zone. So I think they're 1 hour ahead, right? Versus India, which is, I think, 10 or 11 hours. So, they're working while you're asleep. You don't have that same interaction.
Or they work night shift. Also,
which in some cases
which also
that may
isn't
be
fair.
Interesting for depending on the business. For some business, that's interesting to have someone working when you're sleeping and the work is continuous. But usually, it's more interesting to have in the same time zone.
Fascinating. Well, Jen, did you get everything out of this conversation that you were hoping to get?
I was hoping to be at the bar with you guys and having some drinks.
Oh,
yeah. But
why must you do that?
Besides that, yes.
I know, but that's the we're getting closer. We're getting closer to that. Hey, VA World, Project World Orlando. That's sort of the first one I've got on my register. So,
Vince, you must create something that would help the world. It would be a upload of Embrace.
Did you not catch the first 20 minutes of it? I can't. I have no more capacity.
No more Vince to go around.
I have no more capacity.
Vince, you need to hire someone just to say no.
I need, you know what? I actually have been thinking of hiring someone to help me. So if anyone out there wants to volunteer,
see, more jobs.
Yeah, I need help, man. I can't keep doing this.
You have to create an IBA chapter called volunteers.
No, I can't. No,
that's so you have volunteers to work for.
Oh yeah, but then it's not. Then they're not working on my stuff. They're working on Jared's stuff, and that's. Yeah. I mean, that's good too, but it doesn't really.
Jared has a lot of work in 2022, right?
Yeah. 2021 and 2022, absolutely.
Yeah.
What's next after the Harmonize? Can we know?
There's a couple more. Probably the biggest one that most people see is our chapter website platforms need to be upgraded and integrated. That's coming down the pipe too. Replacing some internal systems, all sorts of day-to-day stuff. Translation is going to be a big part.
Ooh.
So yeah.
That's exciting.
Tremendous. Well, I am excited.
I'm not gonna get any sleep, but yes, I'm excited.
Yeah. But then when it's done, you take a week off and you just you relax, right?
As Danelkus likes to say, there is no off button. It's not like you take a week off and all of a sudden you're not thinking about it anyways.
This is what I'm saying.
You're in Canada too. There's cabins around you as well. I'm sure you might have to drive an hour.
So when I get my second shot, I'm going to Regina just to prove Vince wrong.
That it is a rockin' place.
Actually, Regina is a fabulous place.
I've never been.
Just not in the winter. Not in the winter.
Right. Right.
Is that in Saskatchewan?
Yes.
It is.
Although it's pronounced Saskatchewan.
I don't feel like that's true.
No, it's totally true.
Jared.
It's not how I'd pronounce it, but okay.
No, it's not. It's Saskatchewan. Yeah.
See, I do know stuff about Canada.
Yeah, okay. But you don't know when Canada Day is.
July 1st.
Thank you. Well, you did learn something this episode. The end is near, folks, and the end of this episode has already come and gone. Any final thoughts that you want to leave everyone that's joined in today with? Fabricio, why don't we start with you?
For me?
Yeah, sure.
Before he finishes off, we need to know what he's drinking because he is on the show.
Yeah, okay.
All right. So I hadn't prepared nothing because I just had some coffee break downstairs and came because
Okay.
I see where when I do have water, right?
Okay, water. That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. Sorry, Jared.
Well, that's what I'm drinking now too.
Yeah.
Usually I prepare something better for. No, it's this show.
You didn't know until 15 minutes ago that you were going to be on the show, so it's fine.
No, I didn't. Sorry.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I'm gonna leave. For those that have been on, you know that at the end of this, I hit end broadcast and then I go like this.
But Vince, you said you can't say no. So why can you say no to this but not to that?
I'm not saying no. I'm just limiting the yes.
But I think we could probably twist your arm into not saying no and to saying yes.
No, I no. That's not going to happen. Not today. Yes, Jen.
Thought.
Yes, Jen.
So everyone, don't follow Vince's mode, right? Say no, take care of yourselves.
Yes.
Water, be kind to yourself, take time for yourself, and breathe. Don't write 2 books at once and coordinate a conference.
Yeah, festival. It's a festival.
Festival.
Yeah, it's like Coachella, but for professional like change and business analysts.
And maybe less drugs.
And no, that's not an issue for me. Yeah, no, that's not an issue for me. One day before the show is over, not this show, but before the show is, I will tell you the time that I was at Canada's Wonderland for grad night as an 18-year-old, and it was a disaster. And I will never do anything ever again. And I didn't that night either, but it was secondhand. It was just in the air. So anyways, that's for another time. Jared.
Vince, it was a pleasure. It was so much fun. I am so glad that I signed up for this because it was a lot of fun and I laughed a lot. The best part of the show is seeing the comments in relation to the conversation so that the audience is you're feeding off the audience. Mm-hmm. I finally figured out how to do that. So I can read those comments as well.
It's hard.
It is hard, but
it's hard to do.
You know what Jen said is be kind to yourself, but be kind to others too. I mean, a lot of people are so close to breaking point. Like I was saying to my wife the other day that usually what happens is after a long bout of traveling, when I come home and you give that collective sigh, it's over, and then your body goes, oh, good, so now you can be sick because you've been going. Are we going to experience the same thing? I hope.
Yes. I every year. Last year was the first time it didn't happen. Every year in December, after my last thing, where I'm traveling and doing a session or whatever, as soon as I get home, I get sick. Because it's that moment where it's like, I cannot do I don't have to do anything more for the year. And that's when your body just releases the Kraken. And it's terrible. Anyways, Jen, I mean, I want to echo your sentiments. Yes, everyone take care of yourself. I acknowledge what you say to be correct and true and valuable. I just can't. I'm broken. I am broken in some way.
And Jen, if you haven't learned anything today, the question that you need to leave this session with is, when you eat your Smarties, do you eat the red ones last?
Yeah. Anyways, thank you everyone. Fabricio, Jen, Jared, thank you guys so much for being on.
Always fun.
And
It was a pleasure.
We will catch you in the next episode of Analysts After Work.
Thanks, everyone.
See ya.
See you.